Hey, what's up guys? It's your man Foriam again, back with a new Enshrouded guide, as I've been exploring the new update for almost 2 weeks now to check out every nook and cranny this massive new mountains biome has in store for us. As usual, it comes with a truckload of new resources you can harvest, find and process. So I decided to document every single one of them, share the best farm spots with you guys in this ultimate endgame resource guide that will cover all the items you want to know about, how you can craft hardened leather and violet fabric, amazing farm spots for silver, obsidian, Wolfsbane, Gentian and so much more, so let's get farming. Again, I want to say a quick but big thanks to Keen Games, Enshrouded creators, for making today's video possible. I'm honored to say that they wanted to collaborate with my channel. This is the third one of the series in which I share all the information you want to know about the updates. If you haven't picked it up yet, by the way, or want to know more about the updates, check out my link in the description down below. As usual, I will put timestamps in the description so you can find specific items in no time. I do recommend you to watch from beginning till the end, as I'm gonna share amazing spots for every single one of them. Let's start off with charcoal. I know this is a resource we already had access to in previous updates, but it's an important one you're still gonna need for the highest level gear, like the Frostbite set. So yeah, it's important you get your hands on a charcoal kiln. Browse through the recipes, as this will allow you to process it with both wooden logs and dirt. With the new update, you also gain access to the blast furnace, for which as fuel you can use the regular coal. I think an amazing place to farm this specific resource would be a coal mine south of the ancient spire Albaneve summits. From this quick travel, you want to fly down into the canyon all the way to the south. Follow the path to the east and then make a turn towards the mountainside. And this is where you'll be able to find a abandoned mine. This abandoned coal mine is filled with bats, but right here you can also find a ton of the coal. With an iron pickaxe you get 2, sometimes even 3 coal per swing. By the way, make sure to check out the rest of this cave as well, as this is not the only node where you can pick up this specific resource. The place is literally filled with it. Another precious resource with the new update would be the obsidian. Pretty difficult to mine, but also not everywhere to be found in this new world. What I like to do is make my way to this specific POI, the Forge of Obsidia, as northeast of it we will have the obsidian mine. You can actually gain access to it if you just keep gliding to the eastern part of this village. This will lead you into a massive cave system where you have to deal with quite a lot of scavengers, but somewhere in the end, this is where I decided to also place a flame shrine, as this, yeah, pretty much is the perfect place to pick up obsidian. I also have my flame shrine at the very border of this node, so every time I restart the server or relog, all the resources will respawn, so I can basically farm this place as much as I like. Anyways, we're once again making our way to the Forge of Obsidia right now, because in my opinion this is also an amazing spot to pick up Amethyst. So once again, south of the Howling Peak, well, this time we're gonna check out the gateway outpost Alba. This one also comes with a little obsidian mine. If you fly into this house right here, this is where you can also pick up obsidian. Anyways, if you turn around and walk outside once again, well, right here we also have Amethyst. So I'd say a beautiful place to pick up both resources in very short amount of time, as it's pretty close to the beginning of the Albaneve Summits region. But just keep your eyes open at all times, as you would be surprised of how frequent the Amethyst can pop up on the mountain sides. Behind every nook and cranny basically, you'll be able to pick up this resource. You have even more of that right there. Anyways, let's move on to silver, probably the most precious resource with this new update, which can also be found at the Forge of Obsidia. So when you enter the bigger hall, let's say, of this very POI and jump down, well, this is where you can find 2 different silver nodes. These are pretty small though, and it will take quite a lot of time before you can break the resource. If your pickaxe is about to break, just repair it right here. But for specifically silver, there is a much better farm spot with multiple nodes. In my opinion, the best one known to date, where you can farm as much of this resource as you like. Also very close to that coal mine, which we talked about earlier, southeast of the Ancient Spire Albaneve summits. This is the spot you want to go to. It's a little pillar sticking out of the shroud right here. If you land on top of that, it could already be an interesting place to place a base. Wow, that's a lot of rhyming. Anyways, right now we're just gonna let ourselves drop all the way down into the mist. And look at that. This is already the first node with silver. If we run around this pillar, on the sides right here, there is gonna be another one, which in my opinion is the easiest to harvest. Be careful for the explosive little creatures right here. The secondary node, if we jump around, that's another one right here. So plenty of silver to pick up. A total of 4 different nodes. Let's quickly check out the final one, which is right there on the sides. The one on the floor though is my favorite, as you don't have to do any climbing. You can just stay on the floor and keep swinging that pickaxe for all the resources you need. We're gonna have to process this resource before it becomes useful, so let's talk about that as well. Check out the blacksmith, craft yourself a blast furnace, for which you're gonna need primarily the bellows, exclusively found in the new region. Once again, my favorite place to farm these would be the Forge of Obsidian, because plenty of the resources we've talked about earlier can be picked up right here as well. What I like to do is take out a couple guards, then place a flame shrine right behind the bridge basically, which allows me to constantly visit this place whenever I want to. Open up the door, then jump down right here, take some silver if I want to, and then farm the tyrants. Look at that, we just picked up some Hardened Leather and a Bellows. The second time we get some Obsidian as well. Third time 4 animal fur and also a Bellows. So you can tell that the drop chance right here is pretty sweet. That's more than enough Bellows for me. But yeah, after you've made your smelter from the blacksmith, this is where you can start browsing through the recipes, make both the silver bars and the steel bars with the ores combined with coal. As you can see, we've got a whole lot of these right now. Once you've made steel bars, by the way, you will also gain access to the new tools, the steel axe and pickaxe, but also steel and poison steel arrows, which come with the highest damage values in the game, I think, 29 versus 25 of Obsidian. If you're having a hard time coming across Hardened Leather during your adventures, by the way, another way to get your hands on it would be to visit Atlan the Huntress, as this is where you can combine both leather and wax to get your hands on this resource. Of course, you want to know how to get wax, because this can be a little bit tricky. Simply make your way to the very start of the world. This is where you will have the Ancient Spire of Springlands and Cinder Vault. Head to the north, and the first trees you come across right here should have some honey. Let's quickly check it out. It's north of this little town called Longkeep, by the way. But here and there you should find a tree that comes with some honey you can harvest. Not only you will get honey, but also the wax. So one of each resource. You're also going to need quite a lot of padding for different crafts in the endgame, for which you're going to need fabric, leather, resin, and linen. Visit the loom to make fabric. This can be done with linen. Linen can be made with flax at the hand spindle, for which you're going to have to visit the Revelwood Ancient Spire. I think that's a very nice one where you can pick up a ton of this resource. So be sure to visit this place and then search the mountainsides right here. Use the tanning station to make leather with dried fur, salt, and ammonia glands. I've got a ton of them right here. But we're also going to need some wool. This is where I once again recommend you to use the fast travel of the Albaneve summits, as right underneath the tower, well, this is where you can find some yaks. If you take out these poor creatures, you will get raw fatty meat, bones, and also some raw wool. This can be 1, 2, I think 3 or even 4 per drop. But it would be so much more interesting to actually have a farm going on right next to your main base, as this will allow you to get your hands on a whole lot of different resources so much easier. I mean, every time I visit my yaks, I get 16 wool. That's 4 each. And yes, we've got so many animals walking in the way right here that will provide me with eggs, milk, and a whole lot of other resources. If you want to know more about farming and breeding animals, be sure to check out my guide at the top right of the screen, in which I share everything you need to know about it. Anyways, the raw wool can be processed at the improved spinning wheel into the regular wool. We currently have 45, so we're going to pick that up right here and bring it to the huntress. If we talk with her, this is where you can make the warm padding with fabric, leather, resin, and wool. The yaks, I'd say this is an amazing method of farming the raw fatty meat, which you can turn into the grilled fatty meat. A very nice one with +5 constitution and +1 frost resist. But in my opinion, the best dish for the winter biomes would be the beef stew, as this one right here comes with +4 strength, +4 health regen, +4 constitution, and +3 frost resistance. Also requires this exact same resource. This thaumaturge set looks really cool, but then we also have the hillcaster. The names are switched up right here, but for this one, we're also gonna need violet fabric. So how do we get our hands on that? Well, what you're gonna have to do for this one is simply visit the laboratory, browse through the recipes, and this is where you can find Mauveine, I think it's called. Anyways, you're gonna need some nitrate for that, alchemical base, tar, and sulfur. Some of these requirements can be made at the alchemy station. This is where you have the antiseptic and the alchemical base. If you're having trouble locating any of these resources, once again, in the top right of the screen, I have a previous ultimate farming guide with all the resources of the Kindle Waste and Nomad Highlands areas. Anyways, after you've gotten your hands on all the resources, it's time to revisit Atalan and craft yourself some violet fabric with the Mauveine and fabric. We also have the blue ones right here, for which you're going to need indigo plants. Indigo, easy to find around the Revelwood Ancient Spire. For the green fabric, you're going to need mint mushroom meat. For which you want to make your way to the Nomad Highlands, east of the Pillars of Creation, the Umber Hollow, shroud filled with trees that will give you this resource. Interesting fact, by the way, during the night, it's going to be much easier to spot where exactly you can farm the mint resource. Yellow fabric requires saffron. For eastern part of the world, near the Kindle Wastes, fast travel, especially at the town called East Lapis. Plenty of them can be found north of it. Small red plants, then red fabric, for which you're gonna need sulfur, also found in the Kindle Wastes. I'm sure many of you guys are looking forward to crafting the Brazen Bull set, the Mountains Shadow set, but especially the Fang Set. Some of these require resources also from previous biomes like the Fossilized Bone Dust and the Scales. So let's quickly talk about those, including the Reptile Leather, for which you first want to make your way to the Blackmire fast travel, glide towards the west, or right here actually. I think really doesn't matter where you are, but the Snapjaw tar pits are perfect. We can already see 2 reptiles right in front of us. Just gonna wait for them to pop up, and right now it's our time to finish them off. Voila, 5 reptile leather and some bones. We've got another one right here. That's another 5 reptile leather. If you use a drying rack, this is where you can also process reptile leather, by the way. Now, in the Kindle Waste area, we're taking out some birds for feathers, but also scorpions for poison sacs, and also the scales, which you're gonna need for pretty much all sorts of crafts. So be sure to check out this place if you still need some of these resources. We've got a couple more skills right here. You can even take out those turtles. Once again, amazing place for those. East Lapis, north of it, where we find the saffron. While for the fossilized bones, you simply want to look at these giant fossils sticking out of the shroud, popping up all over the place in the Kindle Waste area. You can even find some near the Ancient Spire Nomad Highlands. Just look to the west, and yeah, that's pretty much how you can get the fossilized bones and its dust. We've got a couple more essentials to talk about, which are pretty easy to get your hands on, but let's go over them anyways. First off, we have snow and ice. Of course, ice, if you find a big frozen lake like the Bittermelt Lake, it's gonna be pretty easy to farm this resource. Pretty interesting. If you do a little bit of mining and get underneath it, you can, well, make some pretty cool shapes with it. Time to get creative, ladies and gentlemen, as I think, yeah, a frozen pond can be a pretty nice addition to your base. For snow, well, you want to reach the mountaintops, of course. Just take out your pickaxe and get your hands on a ton of this resource. I like to have a quick travel at the Howling Peaks, the very top of the Albaneve summits, which makes travel so much easier. Quickly check out every nook and cranny the update has in store for you. Ah yes, the pond is so much more realistic right now, with a little bit of snow added to it. Anyways, Conifer Logs. These are tricky to find if you don't know where to search for them. I mean, if you break the new trees in the Albaneve summits, there is a chance you will get this resource, but sometimes you will only find the regular wood. This time we were lucky, but this tree stump, for example, will probably only come with the regular logs. So what I think is an amazing technique to guarantee the chances is to simply take out these stumps. These will always drop, I think, 2 times 4 conifer logs. So you just want to start gliding in the area. Look at that. Right here we have 2 times 8 once again. So we're just going to quickly pick that up. And we're going to check out the other one as well. And this also brings us to the next resource. As right here we have one of these yellow plants. These are called Gentian. These can be pretty tricky to find though. I mean, sometimes you find like 1 or 2 and then it can take forever before you spot another one. So let me quickly show you an amazing place with a ton of this resource. From the Albaneve Summit's quick travel, you want to glide to the southwest. This is where you will find a pretty big fortress surrounded by shrouds, but also some camps here and there in the forest. We're just gonna follow the road right here with our gliding and get past the elixir production site. Because boy, this place is amazing to farm Gentians. We have our first one right here. We've got another one right here. But if we make our way to the east, the shroud itself, where I placed my flame shrine, well, if we perform a double jump, check it out. We've got 1 right here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So southwest of the elixir production site, all these leaf icons are Gentians. But let's also talk about the Wolfsbane, which can be found once again very close to the Forge of Obsidian. So guys, remember that quick travel we talked about earlier. It's gonna make your life so much easier. Anyways, from this place, what you want to do is make your way to the southern part of this region. Focus on that tower, basically. From the tower, I think we're already there. Yep. You just want to glide to this specific spot, and this is where you can pick up 4 Wolfsbanes right next to each other. The walls, this is where you want to be. Just a little bit above the path itself, basically. So, there you have it, all the essentials you want to get your hands on and also their best farm spots for the new updates. If you enjoyed the content, like would be very much appreciated. And of course, share your favorite farm spots in the comments down below. Maybe you found an even better place to farm silver or collect loads of Gentian and Wolfsbane. Anyways, I also want to take the time to once again say a massive thanks to Keen Games for providing us with such an amazing update, which I'm honored to talk about on the channel. Right now though, it is 4 AM out. I want to wish you good luck on your adventures. I'll check you guys in the next video or live stream. Peace.